Yes, indeed. Well, there's all this notion about beta male providers. Yes, they want this whole provider thing out of a man. So, yeah. And you hear some guys say it too. I say, guys, a lot of guys talk in the same way as these gals that they talk about, especially when it comes to being a provider. Of course, being a provider, being a protector, I could talk about being a protector too. I've talked about being a provider and a protector before, but I don't speak on it in the same way as everybody else. So, hence the name of this topic. Only beta males are providers. You see, because you got to think about it. Like when a lot of gals say they want a provider, in essence, as I've mentioned before, they really just want a slave. So a guy that's going to be a slave to what that gal actually wants from you, yeah, that's on you. But when a gal actually gets around a guy, she shouldn't even be talking on those terms of him being a provider. A man is not obligated to really provide. He's really just there to invite someone to his way of living, to his home, be pretty much appreciating things like gifts and stuff like that that he gives to someone that reciprocates to him. But just as it isn't a woman's obligation to necessarily reciprocate, it's not a man's obligation to necessarily do anything for her, providing. So, but yeah, this assumption of providing, that's usually something that some gals will say to guys that they don't see as like they don't see him as that guy. Yeah, the guy that's really the guy in her life, she ain't talking to him like that. Like, I need you to be a provider. I need a man that's a provider. She's not talking to him like that. She's more or less just appreciating being around him. And whatever he does for her, she appreciates that. She can get a dude that does all these things, you know, but she don't appreciate him, you know. So I leave it to say that, all these guys doing all these stuff, gals. I mean, you got all these songs about dudes breaking their fingers, breaking their bones, going to work to provide to a gal that she's getting her back blown out while you're breaking your back at work for her, right? You're providing for her. But look at who she's really reciprocating to. She reciprocated to a guy that didn't provide her anything, right? So yes, men initiate, women reciprocate. So she took it a step further. Not only is she getting her back blown out by a guy that isn't providing, she's getting her back blown out by a guy that didn't even initiate things to her. So that just tells you, like, the guy that she really likes, the guy that she really don't expect much, she's ultimately reciprocating to. And you have to be that guy. That's it. That's it. Because like I said, all this providing conversation, they're talking like that to beta male type of guys. Only beta males provide. Guys that are not on the beta male type of wave, gals are not coming at dudes like that. And I'm not really saying this to talk as a bad boy type. That's not really what I'm doing right now. I'm just letting guys kind of peep game on just really how you need to go about doing things. You have to not have a gal put you in a situation where she expects you to provide for her, because ultimately you're going to be doing all that for nothing. She should just be appreciating you doing the little things for her, and how you're slowly but surely incorporating her into your life, because a woman is supposed to be an asset, not a liability. Not just there for a guy to get ass from. She needs to be an asset, an assistant. Okay. So there is something for her to do, you know? So it goes back also to the conversation of what she brings to the table if she's expecting me to provide. Well, to answer that question without really answering that question, basically say like she doesn't need to really bring anything to the table. However, she needs to be there taking care of that table with you. You know what I'm saying? As an asset, not a liability. Not someone just sitting around doing nothing. Because, fellas, you could get around a gal that's willing to get her hands dirty with you. That's the gal that you want to do things for, right? The one that's there in the mud with you. Not the gal that don't want to get mud on her and she wants you to provide things for her still. Like I said, you out there breaking your back while she's getting her back blown out. You know? Just think about that. These same gals talking about they want a provider man. They saying that to guys that they're going to get away with getting their back blown out by somebody else. And you probably haven't even done that with her, right? But she expects you to be the guy providing. You know, all these other guys out there that she messing with, she don't expect that from them. She expects good pipe service, right? But from you, she expects a good wallet. So don't lead with your wallet. Now, I do agree with that aspect of what guys do say out here with some of the content. You know, don't lead with your wallet because she's going to expect you to always provide that wallet for her too. Yeah. So it's like, no, we do that for each other. We are interdependent. Okay. Because you also got the girl that she don't want a man to do anything for her, right? You got those type of chicks too. So that just kind of goes against this notion of hypergamy. What about the girl that don't want a man to do anything for her because she wants to feel like she got her own and she don't need a man to do anything? That's why I feel like all this hypergamy talk is a lot of it's nonsense. Gals kind of choose who they prefer to do hypergamy with, if that makes sense. It's not just a general statement, though, that it's in a woman's nature to be hypergamous. No, it's in a woman's nurture. She was nurtured to be hypergamous. She was raised to be hypergamous. That's not natural, right? So that's kind of not in her nature. That was put in her. Even if they talking on the terms of wanting to feel secure, well, you're going to be secure in that man's home. He's not buying you a big home that's secured. That's going to be what a beta male providing you things will do. A beta male provider. See, they talk about this idea of an alpha male provider. I don't, no, he a beta male too. Like I said, only beta males provide. That's why she's supposed to be an asset, not a liability. She's supposed to be there helping you get the bag, you know, helping you to get to the bag in different ways. Even, you know, look out for you when your bag's a little short. We just keeping it a buck right now. Because you got all this notion of like a real man don't ask a woman for her money. She's giving somebody else honey. So you need to think about that when you're wanting to think about being a provider. Because, like I said, only beta males actually provide. There's not really this sense of a beta male provider. Only beta males provide. So I hope that kind of, from this perspective of mine, kind of shut down this notion of if they're supposed to be a provider in the first place. You know, I would say at one point in time, it could have made sense that men provide and men did all these things for women and all of that as it should have been, as it, I would say, should be now. But given the ways of society, given the way of the world, do you want to go with what the majority popular opinion is now about being a provider? And one can't say my discussion on this is like this is like an exception of what you are talking about in regards to being a provider. That doesn't change the obvious. Actually, it does, because the obvious has changed. Like this whole notion of what a provider is has changed now. Now it's just, you know, that guy's going to be looked at as a simp, you know, as time goes on, as far as him providing for someone that's not even trying to coincide with him. You know, she's still being rebellious. She's still going to not be there for him. She's still going to run off with somebody else. She's still going to love on somebody else the whole time, by the way. She's still going to do all these things, and yet he's supposed to still provide for her. No, he only shares what he works hard for with those that care for him. He's not obligated to provide for her no more than she's not obligated to be reciprocating to him. So a man appreciates a woman that reciprocates to him based on what he's initiated with. Like he's going to be sharing those things with her. You know, his home, his environment, you know, he has his trust in her that she ain't trying to take half of his money. Only beta males provide. Thanks a million for stopping by.